and fines of $1,000 each for criminal contempt. John Thornton of Washington National, Tom Galloway and Bill Lombardi of Washington Center were led from the courtroom in shackles and imprisoned immediately. Since their 10th day falls on Sunday, they may be released as early as this Friday. Item 2. In a letter to Bob Poli, Representative Elliot Levitas announced that his subcommittee on investigations will launch an inquiry into Lewis's allegations that the system would be unsafe if the dismissed controllers were returned to work. This was generated by a request from Bob last Wednesday. Item 3. The Executive Board concluded its meetings today. A very brief outline of the areas addressed follows. A. Posture. During its last meeting, the Executive Board declared PACO to be locked out in an effort to enhance our position. The recent announcements by the administration prove that our efforts were ignored. Today, PACO has announced that we are once again officially on strike. We will remain on strike until all of the dismissed controllers are offered the opportunity to return and assurances are received that the issues which generated this strike will be addressed. B. Finances. The very survival of PACO depends on our ability to finance certain essential components of our operation. Each member will therefore be required to pay to PACO National an assessment of $100 no later than January 1st. If these monies are not received, PACO will be required to cease its operation totally. C. Public relations. PACO will intensify its efforts to focus attention on the administration's hardline policy, lies, and inconsistencies. To better accomplish this goal, PACO has retained a professional public relations consultant. D. Political action. PACO's political action program will continue in full force, including our efforts to seek passage of a congressional resolution during the second session of the 97th Congress. We also intend to expand our efforts to the state and local levels. E. Labor. President Poli will write Lane Kirkland to strongly impress upon the AFL-CIO the absolute need for their support. F. Legal. PACO must continue to finance and pursue the issues and appeals currently before the courts and administrative tribunals. The full text of the board's report, including a detailed cost breakdown of essential services, as well as rationale for its positions, will be mailed to each cluster from the regional offices this week. End of message.
From PACO South, the Georgia State Unemployment Judge today decided in our favor on the 5B termination date hearing. Those individuals that filed before they were officially terminated are in this group. We are still waiting for the decision on the penalty period hearings. End of CARPAC.
This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Wednesday, December 16th, 11 p.m. From the National Call Pack, item number 1. Last Friday, December 11th, 3 strikers from Washington Center were sentenced to 10 days in jail and fined $1,000 each for criminal contempt. Immediately after the court hearing, the defendants in shackles were imprisoned. They should be out of jail sometime over the weekend. Item number 2. Following a request from President Bob Poli, Representative Levitas announced that a subcommittee on investigations will launch an inquiry into the allegations of Drew Lewis that the system would be unsafe if the dismissed controllers were returned to work. Item number 3. The following is from the National Executive Board meeting held in Chicago. A. The position of PACO remains the same. PACO is officially on strike and will remain so until all the dismissed controllers are offered the opportunity to return and assurance is received that the issues which generated the strike will be addressed. B. Each member will be required to pay PACO National $100 no later than January 1st for coverage of essential operating costs. If these monies are not received, PACO National advises that we'll have to cease operations. Remember that PACO is working under Chapter 11 of bankruptcy, which means you have to pay some of your bills. If we don't pay the bills, we go into Chapter 7, which means that the organization will have to be dissolved. From PACO South, a Georgia state unemployment judge decided in PACO's favor on a determination date hearing. Basically, it means that for those individuals who file paperwork for unemployment prior to their official termination will begin their count from the moment they file the paperwork. Any penalty period decision is still pending. From the Atlanta cluster, item number 1. PACO South is receiving too many phone calls from the membership requesting information. Please refrain from calling PACO South. Call the headquarters, call your area reps, or call your facility reps. Item number 2. The next meeting of the Atlanta cluster membership will be December 21st, 7 p.m. at the MASH headquarters. Item number 3. If you want to mail your $100 necessary, make the check payable to LCAF and mail it to Box 1184, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30237. Indicate it is for the assessment. This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Thursday, December 17th, 8 p.m. From the National Board meeting in Chicago. As a result of the membership's direct input and the Executive Board's deliberations, the following plan of action will be implemented. Effective immediately, each member is required to pay to PACO National an assessment of $100 no later than January 1st, 1982. Additionally, each member will be required to continue payment of the $5 weekly dues. Upon receipt of these monies, PACO will be able to continue its operations. As you recall, on November 25, 1981, PACO filed bankruptcy under the provisions of Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Act. Any debts which PACO had accrued beyond November 25th are debts which are due upon receipt of billing. If any account payable established or retained beyond November 25th is not paid within the time frame established for that particular account, then the union can be held immediately responsible for payment. If the union does not have the ability to pay any legal debt upon demand, PACO will be forced into liquidation under Chapter 7 of the Bankruptcy Act. Therefore, if PACO does not receive the necessary funds, it will be required to cease totally its operations. If you are unable to attend the next meeting of the Atlanta Cluster, which is Monday, December 21st at 7 p.m. at the MASH headquarters, if you don't have time to come by the headquarters during normal operating hours, then you can make your dues or your assessment payable to LCAF, indicate it's for dues or the $100 assessment, and mail it to LCAF, Box 1184, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30237. This afternoon, President Reagan, in a press conference, answered a question from Joanne Rowe of the Rowe News Service when she questioned President Reagan on how ludicrous it was that air traffic controllers could not return to their field, and if President Reagan would consider his position. President Reagan included the following in his statement.
A number of the controllers have, under the Civil Service regulations, appealed their firing. And I suppose it is possible that some may win their appeals and thus would go back. So that is the procedure, and other.
For further information, contact your area or facility rep, or contact the staff at headquarters during hours of operations on 349-7662, 349-7918. So long. I am ready to copy.
Here we go. On the money. Item 1, strikers, 11,533. One lost in helo, extended sick leave. Item 2, the three-man task force commissioned by Drew Lewis to investigate the FAA's personnel practices is scheduled to be reported the third week of February. Washington National Tower Strikers Galloway, Lombardi, and Thornton were released from Fairfax County Jail after serving 7 days of a 10-day sentence. Item 5. 3 striking controllers from Dallas were sentenced today to 1 year and a day in jail, reduced to 90 days in jail, 18 months probation, and $750 in individual fines. The 3 strikers, Grant, Green, and May, began serving their terms on January 11th. 3 others convicted of contempt were fined $750 each. Last item. The next regularly scheduled call packs will be on December 23rd and December 30th. Normal call packs resume on January 4th. And the message.
That's it, bro.
Okay, sweetie, let me give me a check. This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Friday, December 18th, 7 p.m. Item number 1. The total number of PAC members on the street was reduced today by 1 after the individual returned to work from extended sick leave. Item number 2. The 3-man task force commissioned by Mr. Drew Lewis to investigate the FAA's personnel practices is scheduled to report the 3rd week of January. Item number 3. The hearing on the government's motion to dismiss the Minneapolis printers case is scheduled for January 6th. For those of you who don't remember, the Minneapolis printers case deals with a PAC motion for declaratory judgment against the FAA, in which they will have to fire all those printers that have gone back to work. We, of course, know the printers by another name. Item number 4. The 3 Washington cluster controllers, Galloway, Lombardi, and Thornton, were released from jail today after serving 7 days of their 10-day sentence. Item number 5. Over in Dallas, 3 more PATCO controllers were sentenced today to 1 year and a day in jail, reduced to 90 days in jail, 18 months probation, and $750 fine each. The 3 controllers, Grant, Green, and May, begin serving their sentences on January 11th. But that's not all. There's more. 3 others were convicted of contempt and were fined $750 each. Item number 6. The next scheduled national call pack will be on December the 23rd and December the 30th. After the holidays, the national call pack resumed their regular Monday, Wednesday, and Friday schedule beginning on January the 4th. Cluster call pack. Item number 1. The next cluster meeting of the Atlanta membership will be held on Monday, December 21st, 7:30 p.m. at the MASH headquarters. Refreshments will be available after the meeting for bargain contributions. The meeting will have information dealing with the Chicago National Executive Board meeting, the financial standing of the organization, and why you must pay your dues and why you must pay your $100 assessment. For further information, contact your area or facility rep. Refrain from calling PATCO South. Call the MASH headquarters at 349-7662, 349-7918. So long. This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Monday, December 21st, 11 p.m. There is no national or regional call pack, but we have the following local call pack dealing with finances. First of all, continue to pay your dues collection of $5 for the national and $5 for the local on a weekly basis. The $5 for the local is to offset the fines and the legal expenses of the Atlanta 36. Whether we meet or not, these monies on a weekly basis have to be paid. You can make your checks payable to LCAF, indicated is for your dues, and you can mail them to LCAF, Box 1184, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30237. We also have a $100 assessment of each and every member that must be paid prior to January 1st, 1982. Why are we having to pay this $100 when we are already paying local dues and national dues? Well, the answer to that is that PATCO is beginning a new program of trying to get the controllers back to work by addressing different areas. Area number one, PATCO is acquiring a public relations consultant that will be able to improve PATCO's image and inform the public of the real issues of PATCO's fight for freedom. Number two, the decertification appeal is coming up in January, and the legal expenses in the pursuit of the decertification appeals have to be paid. Item number three, PATCO has to reactivate the political action program so that in January, when the 97th Congress meets, the House of Representatives can once more initiate the resolution which will go to the desk of President Reagan urging the rehiring of all the air traffic controllers. Number four, most important, is that we don't want PATCO to go from Chapter 11 of bankruptcy to Chapter 7 of bankruptcy. We have to continue paying our past debts. We have to continue paying our present debts and expenses. If we don't do that, we will go into the Chapter 7, which would mean the complete dissolution of PATCO as we know it. You should be receiving a $40 check back from your MSPB as the MSPB consolidation on a national level was denied. You can use this as your basis for the $100 assessment. In either case, for further information, contact your area or facility rep. Don't call PATCO South. Contact the headquarters during normal business hours at 349-7662, 349-7918. So
I guess Dick didn't give you guys a call last night, huh?
No.
Okay. He called everyone else.
Okay.
Okay, here you go.
Call back 122381. Item 1. Several rumors have been floating around the country that Congressman Jack Kemp has disavowed PATCO and that he is no longer doing what he can to see to the return of all the strikers. That rumor is absolutely and totally false. Item 2. Congressman William Ford's congressional investigation into the Oklahoma City Training Academy has found that the grades of 14 students were manipulated so that they would pass. Mr. Ford stated that there is absolutely no doubt that grades were changed. The committee staff believes its findings warrant an immediate and thorough investigation by the Inspector General of the DOT. The committee report said that the Academy Director, Benjamin Demps, and Gregory McGuire, Chief of the Oklahoma City Air Traffic Branch, conceded at a December 4th meeting with committee staff that McGuire raised the grades of 14 students from fail to pass. Item 3. We are aware that some of our fellow strikers are of the opinion that the resignation of Bob Polite and or members of PATCO's executive board would or could lead to the rehiring of the fire controllers. To clarify whether resignations would have any impact, a number of phone calls and inquiries are made of our sources who have contacts within the administration. First, both Congressman Bill Ford and Edward Dewinski reported back that after talks with individuals at the executive level, that any resignation would not, at present, change the President's posture on rehiring. Congressman Kemp reiterated that message after he had discussions with his contacts. Finally, Lane Cookman told Bob Polite that in no way would his resignation, without reverse considerations on the part of the administration, serve any purpose. Based on those discussions with reliable sources, neither Bob Polite or any other member of the board will resign from their elected office. End of message.
Okay?
Okay, brother.
All right. You have a merry one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Wednesday, December 23rd, 1981. Item number 1 from the National Call Pack. Congressman Ford's investigating committee on the training at the Oklahoma City Academy has found that the grade of 14 students were manipulated so that they would indicate a passing grade. Congressman Ford believes, as his committee that the filings warrant an immediate investigation by the Inspector General of the DOT. The committee report said that the Academy Director Benjamin Detz and Gregory McGuire, Chief of the Oklahoma City Air Traffic Branch, conceded at a December 4th meeting with the committee staff that the McGuire raised the grades of 14 students from failure to passing. Item number 2. Since PATCO is aware that some of the fellow strikers are of the opinion that the resignation of Bob Pauli or members of the National Executive Board would or could lead to the rehiring of the fire controllers, investigations were initiated. To clarify the portion regarding resignations and the impact it would have, phone calls and inquiries were made from sources who have contact within the administration. Based on these discussions, either Bob Pauli or other members of the board will resign from their elected officers. Basically, the information that came back confirmed that any type of resignations at the present time would serve no purpose. Local Coal PAC item number 1. PATCO has lost the appeal before the Second Circuit Court in New York, challenging the injunction that the ATA has held against PATCO for 11 years. Remember, it was this injunction that resulted in $33.6 million in fines and damages placed against PATCO by the ATA. Item number 2. The national MSPB consolidation has been denied, and the checks are about to be returned to the participants. National Council is setting up a network of lawyers that can be used in case regional consolidation is denied and PATCO has to go to individual appeals. Item number 3. Your regional MSPB representative, Dave Siegel, has replied to the FAA Southern Region concerning the issue of the interrogatories. Those of you who have not used PATCO will have to do so on your own and be very leery of what you do. Item number 4. The $100 dues due before January 1st, 1982 are very important. Don't forget to send your money to This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call PAC for Tuesday, December 29th, 10 a.m. The following is a series of questions and answers most frequently asked dealing with the financial matters of the organization. Number 1, most important. Why do we have to pay the $100? Aren't we paying enough monies? What is PAC going to do for me? Before the present conflict, the representation of the people was a direct proportion of the amount of dues paid. Those dues were converted into representation by the various programs and the activity within PATCO. Since the return of the dues has been less than desired, PATCO is forced to ask the membership for quantities of money so that they can continue operations and representation through the various programs that are coming up. Decertification is coming up, public relations is coming up, and political lobbying is coming up. And those are all being directed to the rehiring of the air traffic controllers. Who do I make my monies payable to? Make your dues or assessment checks payable to LCAF. Indicate whether it's for dues or for the assessment. If you don't have the complete monies, make partial payments. In either case, partial payments will add up if we add them up, not only in the cluster, but nationwide. In fact, the cluster has approximately 200 people who are delinquent in one form or another for all the monies that were necessary to be paid up to November. This adds up to almost $17,000. Those $17,000 could surely have been used by the local, the region, or the national. And in fact, much of that money could have been used to help the Atlanta 36, those brothers that went to court for the rest of you. You can mail your checks to LCAF, Box 1184, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30237. What about MSPB? Where do we go now? Well, MSPB was denied at the national level. It might be denied at the regional level. In that case, we go to individual appeals. PATCO is formulating a network of lawyers through National Council that will take care of your individual's appeals for 1/3 of the price of what it would cost if you went out on your own. As you can see, PATCO is still working for you. Last but not least, what about if I extract myself from PATCO look for my own individual appeal, get my own lawyer, and maybe I will be blessed by the FAA and they will rehire me. That is only a pipe dream and an assumption. There is no guarantee that the agency is going to look any better at you or the MSPB is going to treat you any better if you extract yourself from PATCO. PATCO is still the one, and you must remain united. So long.
This is the Atlanta cluster information for Wednesday, December 30th, 1981, 5:03 p.m. Item 1. Do not believe any reports in the news media. I repeat, do not believe any reports in the news media. Item 2. There are internal discussions going on at the national level concerning the future direction and policy of PATCO. Expect to be contacted in the very near future with their decision. End of message. For further information, contact the staff in Atlanta headquarters at 349-7662 or 349-7918. Good day.
All we need.
That's it, man.
Your Honor, sir. Today what I'm going to do is read you the press release that it is with about one word change, the call pack, and I'll proceed. Right? Call pack, December 31st, 1981, special. Today, Robert Poli and Robert Meyer announced their decision to step down as the President and Executive Vice President of PATCO. Their respective decisions to resign are final and will become effective at midnight, January 6th, 1982. The following message is from Bob Poli and Bob Meyer to the membership. Quote, leaving is not easy. In fact, the decision I've reached is the most terribly difficult one that I have ever made. On the 3rd of August, we went on strike for all of the right reasons. We didn't try to bluff anyone or play games with our issues because the issues which provoked the strike were real. We, you and I, took a stand. We didn't lie to each other. We stood together with honor and never forgot our principles. We haven't changed our beliefs. I have always stated that if I believed I was an impediment to a solution to the strike, I would step aside. I now believe that time has come. I am positively convinced that my resignation and that of Bob Meyer was reached for all the right reasons at the correct time in history. I am hopeful that the Reagan administration, the Congress, and the American public will now act in concert to return all of you back to work. Although much is taken, much abides, and there remains PATCO and the proud members who chose to bear her standard. I could not be more proud of you for all the sacrifices you made and for all the unnecessary and uncalled for harsh abuses you've taken. The union is intact, and our struggle will go on. The Executive Board will remain committed to goals established by you and will work to see to a speedy and successful conclusion of the strike. Please remember that nothing is forever. As your president, especially during this strike, I led you the way in which we wanted to proceed. Now it's time to proceed more forward, not reminisce or look back on the past. No one could have been more privileged to serve you as I am. There is no finer group of people or strong union members than all of you. Thank you for your support, your confidence. You've been magnificent. Close quote. End of callback.
Okay, and Betty, that's end of the
Okay.
part 2 of the call pack. Successors to the presidency and executive vice presidency will be appointed by the National Executive Board and announced as soon as possible, period. End of part 2 of the call pack. And that completes both the press release and the call pack.
Thank you.
This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Friday, January 1st, 1982 at 6 p.m. First, a special national call pack. Item number 1. Today, the National Executive Board of PATCO, according to Constitution, elected the new president and national vice president of PATCO. The succeeding president is Gary Eads, who is presently the vice president of the Central Region. The new executive vice president is Dominic Torcha, presently the vice president of the Western region. Successors to the position of vice president in the Central and Western region will be announced as soon as possible. Item number 2. There will be no statements made to the press on who was elected. A PATCO official statement will be made on January 7th, 1982. Item number 3. The next scheduled National Call PAC is due on Monday evening, January 4th, 1982. From the Cluster Call PAC, item number 1. For those of you who have been receiving a bill from the Atlanta Cluster regarding financial matters, remember that this is nothing more than a reminder of your financial obligations to the national, region, and to the cluster. We certainly would appreciate some type of payment regarding your past due debts. Item number 2. Atlanta Center is shortly to announce a new rep for the North area and the Southwest area. Anyone wishing to be considered for these positions, contact the Atlanta Center Facility Rep, Dan Kovacs, on 487-8306. Item number 3. The next meeting of the Atlanta Cluster membership is due on Monday, January 4th, 1982, 7 p.m. at the good old MASH headquarters. For further information, you can contact the staff at 349-7662, 349-7918. If there's nobody there, contact your area or facility rep. Good day. Okay, fire again.
Here we go. Ready when you are. Okay, call back January 4th. Number 1. Bob Butterworth and John Willoughby have been appointed the regional vice presidents of the Western and Central regions, respectively. They officially assume office Thursday. Item 2. NBC Magazine on Friday, January 8th will cover the recent allegations of grave manipulation and mismanagement at the Oklahoma City Academy. They have some explosive information and it should be a good show. Item 3. It is imperative that you collect the $100 assessment and dues as quickly as possible. If you are holding money at the local or cluster level, call your regional vice president tomorrow and let him know how much it is. Item 4. The Merit Systems Protection Board legal network is almost complete and details should be available on Friday's callback. End of callback.
PATCO South. Item 1. NBC Magazine will feature a story on the Academy in Oklahoma City Friday evening, January 8th. The story should center around the FAA's cheating on test scores. Item 2. Last week, Gary Spence, president of Meridian Ratcliffe, was severely injured in an automobile accident. He had no insurance. His cluster is requesting financial assistance to help Gary through this. Contact the Meridian Cluster at area code 601-922-0101, care of Mike Quaranto. End of callback.
This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Monday, January 4th, 1982 at 8 p.m. National Call Pack item number 1. Bob Butterworth and John Willoughby have been appointed the regional vice presidents of the Central and Western regions. These new regional vice presidents should assume office Thursday, January 7th, 1982. Item number 2. Friday, January 8th, on the NBC television program, the NBC Magazine, there will be a story concerning the allegations of great manipulations and mismanagement at the Oklahoma City Academy. NBC Magazine advises that they have some explosive information and it should be a very good show. Item number 3. It is imperative that the collections of the $100 assessments continue, and remember that they have to be in by Friday, January 8th. Well, I'd like to thank all of you who contributed the $100 and all of you who made an effort to contribute some of the monies. For those of you who didn't have a chance to contribute this time, there will be further opportunities in the future to contribute your monies for these very, very necessary programs. Item number 4. The MSPB Legal Network is almost complete, and details should be available by Friday's call pack. From the Southern Region call pack, item number 1. Last week, Gary Spence, president of Meridian, was severely injured in an automobile accident. He had no insurance, and his cluster is requesting financial assistance to help Gary through this situation. If you would like to make some contributions to this brother who is in distress, contact Mike Quaranto at the following number. Area code 601-922-0101. From the local cluster call pack, item number 1. Your regional MSPB representative, who is the Southern Region Vice President David Siegel, has once more checked on the legal procedures concerning the reply to the questionnaires. At the present time, the situation remains as it is. The reply sent out by the Southern Region to the FAA region is valid. If the situation changes, it has to be by the FAA forcing and filing a motion for discovery. When that occurs, then we will have to amend the situation. For further information, the staff is available on 349-7662, 349-7918. So long. This is the Atlanta Cluster Information Call Pack for Wednesday, January 6, 1982 at 8:30 p.m. National Call Pack item number 1. Today, the National Executive Board of PATCO adopted an MSPB legal network which will be able to provide coverage to all members. The firms involved have been screened and selected because of their qualifications, experience, and commitment in providing top-quality legal representation. Specific details concerning cost and procedures will be sent out on Friday's National Call Pack. Written information with full details will be sent to each local and cluster on Monday, January 11. Item number 2. The Department of Justice's motion to dismiss the Splinter suit in Minneapolis was argued today. PATCO's attorneys expect a decision in approximately 10 days. Item number 3. PATCO's latest information indicates that NBC will probably not broadcast the NBC News Magazine segment concerning charges of grading manipulations at the Oklahoma City Academy this Friday as scheduled. The network has originally changed their scheduling to indicate that the segment might probably be shown on Friday, January 15th. Item number 4. Effective January 7th, the following personnel who worked in the PATCO Washington office will resign. Denny Reardon, the labor contract negotiator, Pat Doyle, the political action coordinator, Jim Lundy, the benefits committee chairman for the National, and Dave Trick, the national director of operations. Mr. Trick has indicated that he will continue working until the MSPB representation network has been finalized. Local call pack item number 1. Atlanta Cluster would like to thank all those members who continue to give their contributions for national dues or local cluster dues for legal expenses, and also portions or in total of the assessments, including the last $100 assessments. Remember that without your monies, PATCO's fight for freedom will have a hard upward struggle. Item number 2. Your regional MSPB representative for PATCO, Mr. David Siegel, has once more confirmed that PATCO's reply to the FAA Southern Region regarding the MSPB questionnaires is valid. Until the situation changes, that is our present position. For further information, the staff at 349-7662, 349-7918, or call your area or facility rep. So long. Good evening. This is the Atlanta Cluster information for Friday, January 8th at 5 p.m. For all you interested members and non-members calling in for today's call pack, be advised that Friday's national call pack is not in yet, but it will be available on this recorder sometime around 9 p.m. tonight. If you would like to receive some information regarding last Monday's or last Wednesday's call pack, the staff will be available on 349-7662, 349-7918. And please give the members a chance to get the call pack information on this recorder tonight. Appears that too many interested parties are tying up the lines and not letting our members get through. Thank you very much. So long.
Oh, PAC.
Hey,
Hey, you are going to have your fingers worn to the middle joint.
oh, it's going to be a long one, huh?
Absolutely.
Let me get the tape on the other side.
0.
got a press release, too. If you want to hear it, just hang on the line.
Or just play it all, and I'll put it on the recorder.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you then.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Gary
Okay.
wants to get Charlie on the phone.
No, that's okay. I'm in no hurry.
Oh, yeah, ask Charlie why he didn't come up here. I had these things there. I ran them copies off for Charlie, like you said, but they didn't come by.
No, they
They
didn't.
didn't come by.
Did you mail the other one?
Yeah, I mailed 2 copies to Wise,
Okay.
and this copy that you made copies of,
Yeah.
the one with all the little cutouts,
Mhm.
what do you want me to do with this?
Just put a gem clip with my name on it in a
Oh.
piece of paper and leave it laying up there. Have you guys transcribed this thing?
No, not yet.
Are you going to?
Do you want us to?
Oh my goodness. That's all right. I'll do it. It's easier to transcribe it and then just read it back on the recorder, but I'll do it. It's not that much trouble.
Okay, I don't know. I was planning on meeting Sam and Roger Moore over at Dudley as soon as I got through. So
Well,
I don't know about Gary. I think he was planning on sticking around here. So he brought in a cooler and everything.
sound like he's coming to spend the night.
Yeah, actually, if he's in for a siege. Oh, he's going to work on ITAP. Maybe he can type it up for you.
That's okay. I'll just write it down in shorthand and read it back on the recorder.
Okay.
You can't. It's very difficult to play it on here from this tape recorder onto the phone recorder.
Oh, uh-huh.
You know, you just can't put the mic down there because it comes out all garbagey.
Yeah.
You have
Okay,
to.
you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, when it gets, you know, we just keep it running so you can hear the press release?
Yeah, run the whole thing.
Okay. Here it comes.
Your language, you wanted an American.
Yeah, you sound like James Watt.
There's Americans and there's liberals.
Yeah, there you go. You've heard it too, huh?
Fucking redneck son of a bitch. I like the one Brent Smith pulled the other day by saying, hey, we don't need that Voters' Right Act.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to copy here, brother?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, good.
Call PAC 12982. Item number 1. Tomorrow, January 30th, is a day of national solidarity in support of our brother and sister trade unionists in Poland, period. Our plan is to make our presence obvious at the various solidarity rallies around the country by wearing tactile insignia and carrying signs stating words to the effect that tactile supports solidarity. We are not to make any statements about the Reagan administration, nor make any comparison of our situation with that of the Polish people, period. The reasoning behind this is that we don't want to appear as though our participation in this event is self-serving, comma. In fact, comma, the image we must present is one of strict concern for our Polish brothers and sisters, period. This is not only the stance which has been decided upon by our leadership, comma, but the one which will best put our message across to the American public, period. This is one instance when what we don't say will come across the loudest, period. In order to ensure discipline is maintained, comma, only designated spokespersons should make comments to the media, period. Item number 2. This office has received word that at least 2 attorneys are going around to dismiss controllers and lying to them about, quote, having in with the White House, end of quote, period. We have all lost enough money during the past 6 months, so don't throw your money away on these vultures who want to feed off your bones, period. Remember, there are no quick fixes, but there are a lot of leeches. Any attorney who would predicate fighting your case on having an end or by having your turn against your brothers and sisters in order to save your own butt is a scumbag attorney, period. Hard work is the answer and total dedication to one another, period. Stand by. Okay, good. All right. That was Paul White yelling was doing by. Some of the $40 checks that were returned from Layton have apparently gone awry, period. Those clusters that have strange checks, send them to your RVP, period. No checks were cashed by
unannounced, period. Item number 6, today's humor, dash, the Fremont, California Police Department sent the FAA a bill for $5,264 for police services during picketing at Oakland Center, period. The FAA refused to pay the bill and then publicly accused Fremont's finest of acting in concert with PATCO, period. It must be terrible to not have any friends, period. This will turn into a continuing saga, so we will keep you advised, period, end of callback. Okay, it's a PATCO press release, upper left-hand corner, in capital letters, release date, immediate. Under that, January 29, 1982. Over in the right, upper right-hand corner, contact, David V, period, Skosik, S-K-O-C-I-K. Under his name, the area code 202-638-6500. First paragraph. The grandiose plan unveiled to the press by FAA Administrator J. Lynn Helms on January 28th is yet another attempt to reduce the number of skilled people guiding aircraft through the skies. What Mr. Helms and his predecessors seem to forget is the basic fact of modern life, computers are not fail-safe nor entirely reliable. Many air traffic controllers who have had a scope full of aircraft when some component fails can attest to that. Computers have always been nothing more than an aid to air traffic controllers, doing much of the bookkeeping work which allowed the controller to devote his time to separating traffic. Paragraph 2. When, as in Mr. Helms' plan, we are speaking of replacing controllers with computers, we are speaking of risking human life on the reliability of electronic circuitry. It must be remembered here that we are not talking in terms of some exotic mission like a moonshot, but in a daily activity in which hundreds of thousands of lives are involved. The flying public should have no more confidence in electronic controllers than they would in a pilotless airplane. Paragraph 3. We are encouraged that the FAA is finally addressing the needs and concerns of the air traffic system. However, based upon the FAA's equipment procurement track record, this could prove to be another exorbitantly expensive boondoggle. The taxpayer will ultimately be called upon to foot the bill because it is apparent that the increasingly shrinking aviation system will not be able to meet the financial burden imposed upon it by this plan. It is equally ironic that people who do not understand the intricacies of the system are again in the process of making major and expensive modifications without asking for input from those people who will actually have to make the system work. We can only hope that we have not regressed to the time when major accidents will be the only key to public scrutiny. End of press release.
Hey, did you get all that?
Who made the press release? I missed that part.
Who did it come from?
Yeah.
It came from the National. Taylor is the one that was reading it off. Do you know him? I don't know what his first name is.
No, I want to know who is releasing that press release. Is it Patco or Gary Eads or
Just Patco.
Joe Schmo or whatever?
Just Patco, I believe. Let me see. Let me get Al's note. All I had was Al left me a note that says, call Taylor at the Patco National Office to get a press release recorded on tape. So I didn't ask him.
Okay.
So I assume it's just the, National Office?
Must be just a Patco press release.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, see you later.
Unreleased. The court ruling came down that PAC is now free to be used as it was designed to be used. This victory allows us a strengthened voice in the political arena. Item 2. According to the February 2nd edition of the Aviation Daily, executives of Midway, Muse, that's M-U-S-E, and New York Air are complaining that the current policies of the major airlines constitutes, quote, a restraint of trade, unquote. Lamar Muse, owner and president of Muse Airlines, stated that the FAA, quote, Okay, here it goes. Hey, on the first part of the call back, you're going to miss the date and the words "let me."
Okay.
Okay, here it goes.
To remind those members who have a legitimate financial hardship in reference to the cost of MSPB representation that Layton's firm will accept those cases which are filed with them with a postmark of no later than today. If you are unable to comply with a mailing, call your regional vice president immediately and have him call Layton with the facts regarding your case. Item 2. Our recently developed test plan package should have arrived at the regional offices today. Each cluster should receive a copy early next week. We ask that you give top priority to complying with the response items requested of you. We intend to have a national press release system in place within 10 days. Item 3. Congressman Bill Ford, Democrat of Michigan, and the Post Office Civil Service Committee will conduct hearings on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week concerning the safety of the air traffic control system and the FAA's timetable for rebuilding it. The committee will question representatives of the NTSB and the Flight Safety Foundation regarding both organizations' recent reports on the system. Additionally, Congressman Dan Blickman, a Republican of Kansas, will hold hearings next Tuesday and Wednesday in reference to the FAA's research and development budget request. PACCO representatives will attend each of these hearings. Item 4. All clusters and locals are requested to reemphasize the importance of continuing to collect the $5 weekly dues contribution from all members and the $100 assessment from those who have not participated. Drastic cuts in our operational expenses have been made, and there will be more. We have cut 35% from our budget already, and we intend, within the very near future, to reach a goal of 50 to 60% reduction from that which was projected January 1st, 1982. Item 5. Due to media interpretation of the recent U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals order in many areas of the country, we would emphasize this point. The court's order, in effect, granted PACCO's request by Richard Layton for an evidentiary hearing into the charge that ex parte communication with the FLRA may have occurred during the time when the decision was being made to decertify us. This hearing is extremely important to PACCO, and it has the potential for resulting in a significant benefit for us. Use caution when addressing this matter. PACCO is not making any accusations. We are, however, encouraged by the order of the court. Item 6, and most important. Beginning tonight, all callbacks, unless preempted by more important information, will be available to you on the National Recorder. The number is area code 202-638-2042.
And from PACCO South. For those members who have or are in the process of designating themselves for self-representation, do not be concerned that you have not received any further information out of this office concerning filing of motions. On Monday, a motion will be filed in opposition to the pre-hearing order on everyone's behalf, whether you had already made the change of representative or not. Other motions will be filed next week as well. That will also cover all of you. This matter has been coordinated with MSPB. I still urge, if at all possible, to retain a lawyer as soon as possible.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. All right.
From PACCO South, February 23, 1982. Item 1. Yesterday, MSPB denied a motion filed by this office on everyone's behalf who was either being represented by Dave Siegel or those that have filed for self-representation. The motion requested an extension for some of the deadlines as well as being against consolidation at this time. Other motions concerning discovery will be filed on everyone's behalf by this Thursday, again for those who are self-representing. This procedure has been worked out with MSPB. After the filings, MSPB will issue orders on the filings on what they will authorize. Item 2. When changing designation of representative, you must send MSPB the original and a copy, and FAA one copy. Item 3. No hearings have been scheduled yet in this region and probably will not until sometime in April. Item 4. MSPB has also advised us that although they do not have travel funds available to hold hearings at this time at on-site locations, they are reasonably assured that through supplemental appropriations, they will have funds to do so when hearings are scheduled after completion of discovery. Item 5, good news for South Carolina. Effective March 15, striking controllers will be eligible for unemployment, in parentheses, after serving a 26-week penalty period. End of PATCO South call pack. Stand by for national.
Whenever you're ready.
This is Southern Region Call Pack 22682. Motions for discovery were filed yesterday on time for every person who is still listed under David Siegel and who are designated as self-representatives. It was not an easy task to run 52,000 copies for 16 straight hours and putting together 3,000 sets, but it got done with the invaluable help of Terry Shannon of Savannah, J. Ray Hardy of Atlanta Center, and Sam Weathern of Atlanta Center. The next filing will occur within the next 2 weeks, which will be a response to the FAA's motion for discovery, which was received yesterday also. There is nothing that anyone who is not represented by an attorney has to do at this time. We are still in the battle, so hang in there. Item 2, a newsletter and articles as well as the motion that was filed yesterday went in the mail to each facility rep and benefits committee person. Again, this is item 3. Again, MSPB has not scheduled any hearings for those who are participating in the discovery process. Item 4. Dues contributions are an absolute necessity if MSPB help and other activities are to continue. As an example, the cost of completing the motion, which we delivered yesterday, ran to $2,600. Without financial assistance, the job cannot be completed. A final note, we have not been able to trace down any firm proof that the MSPB in Dallas has had any hearings and made any awards such as the $25,000 in reinstatement of 6 controllers. The media apparently has it from somewhere, but I think it's been taken out of context. MSPB cannot confirm it. That's the end.
This is the National Call Pack for February 26, 1982. Item number 1. Pre-conference hearings began today before a special administrative law judge appointed by the Circuit Court of Appeals to investigate possible improprieties in the FLRA decision to decertify PATCO. These proceedings were for establishing ground rules, identifying witnesses and schedules, and to set a procedural basis for the proceedings. We will keep you informed as to the developments in this very important case. Item number 2. The task force report commissioned by Secretary Lewis last September to investigate the FAA and its labor management program was expected to be released today, but was not. We now understand that it will be released in mid-March. Item number 3. On Monday, we will open a membership services office here at the National, staffed by Ed Zakovic from Cleveland and Bob Cameron from Norfolk. With these new positions, we believe we will significantly improve our communication with you. Our goals are to mail directly to the clusters, at least bi-weekly, to establish a more dependable dues collection program, publish a national newsletter, and assist the regional VPs in serving you. In order to accomplish all this, we will need your help. All clusters should mail us a current membership list immediately. The name, address, and phone number of each member in your cluster or local should be sent to us, care of the membership office. Item number 4. Tom Holliday, our public relations consultant, will be returning to work at the national office soon.
In order to make his time more productive, we need a response from each cluster to the requests that were made in the PR package we mailed 10 days ago. Also, for fundraising purposes, we need any and all editorial cartoons that have been published by us or the media concerning PACCO since August 3rd. Item number 5. During the last 3 weeks, we have received many requests for information concerning safety of the system. Again, we need your help. Please send any material that you have regarding safety to the National Office Attention Safety Research. We especially need more evidence from the inside. Item number 6, in response to many questions we've had recently asking, is MSPB all that we have left? The answer is emphatically no. Every day we spend many hours, especially Gary Eads, pursuing other avenues for a settlement. We cannot say that something will break tomorrow. We can say that our chances are much better than we thought just a few weeks ago. Continue with your support. We need it now more than ever. End of message. Ferris concluded his remarks by saying, quote, "We have been penalized by months of reduced service, with fixed overhead in the form of grounded aircraft incurring huge costs and without offsetting revenues. The result? Huge losses. If we are not restored to pre-strike levels, we shall be dealt the second blow." Unquote. Item number 4. We have a very special need for all members to communicate immediately with those congressmen who serve on the Post Office and Civil Service and the Public Works and Transportation Committees. Please refer to past mailings for the identification of these people. Emphasize to them the tremendous cost to the taxpayer of rebuilding the system, the safety issues involved, and the immediate need to reinstate all dismissed controllers. This political action on our part is very important to us at this time. Please act at once. Item number 5. The NTSB investigation into the cause for the Air Florida crash continued today. The hearing focused on the air traffic control data and testimony. The supervisor who controlled Flight 90 testified to the following facts. Number 1, he could not see 1,000 feet at either end of the runway. And number 2, he cleared a twin Cessna into position after he saw Eastern 1451 on the runway. This testimony, coupled with the information obtained from other sources, revealed that Flight 90 did not leave the runway until after the twin Cessna was cleared into position, placing Eastern 1451 on the runway somewhere between the two aircraft. The hearings will continue tomorrow. Item number 6. It is possible that Dick Layton will accept additional clients for the MSPB process sometime before March 15th. We ask that any member who is interested in retaining Layton to notify your regional office immediately. End of message. End of message. This is the National Call Pack for March 2nd, 1982. Item number 1. Evidentiary hearings will begin this Thursday into the circuit. Flight 90 did not leave the runway until after the twin Cessna was cleared into position, placing Eastern 1451 on the runway somewhere between the two aircraft. The hearings will continue tomorrow. Item number 6. It is possible that Dick Layton will accept additional clients for the the MSPB process sometime before March 15th. We ask that any member who is interested in retaining Layton to notify your regional office immediately. End of message. Hearings will begin this Thursday into the Circuit Court's ordered investigation of possible improper ex parte communication with a member of the FLRA during the time of the decertification vote. Bob Poli will probably testify on Friday. We will continue to report on every aspect of these hearings. Item number 2, the Department of Justice asked Layton's firm to file a joint motion in bankruptcy court to modify the automatic stay in every pending civil action throughout the country. The government has advised our attorneys that it will now begin to dismiss those actions. Item number 3, United Airlines Board Chairman Richard Ferris, in a letter to Congressman Norman Mineta's House Public Works Aviation Subcommittee, stated, quote, unless the nation's air traffic control system is fully restored to pre-strike levels, the economic repercussions could be disastrous. Ferris concluded his remarks by saying, quote, we have been penalized by months of reduced service, with fixed overhead in the form of grounded aircraft incurring huge costs and without offsetting revenues. The result? Huge losses. If we are not restored to pre-strike levels, we shall be dealt a second blow, unquote. Item number 4. We have a very special need for all members to communicate immediately with those congressmen who serve on the Post Office and Civil Service and the Public Works and Transportation Committees. Please refer to past mailings for the identification of these people. Emphasize to them the tremendous cost to the taxpayer of rebuilding the system, the safety issues involved, and the immediate need to reinstate all dismissed controllers. This political action on our part is very important to us at this time. Please act at once. Item number 5. The NTSB investigation into the cause for the Air Florida crash continued today. The hearing focused on the air traffic control data and testimony. The supervisor who controlled Flight 90 testified to the following facts. Number 1, he could not see 1,000 feet at either end of the runway. And number 2, he cleared a twin Cessna into position after he saw Eastern 1451 on the runway. This testimony, coupled with the information obtained from other sources, revealed that Flight 90 did not leave the runway until after the twin Cessna was cleared into position, placing Eastern 1451 on the runway somewhere between the two aircraft. The hearings will continue tomorrow. Item number 6. It is possible that Dick Layton will accept additional clients for the MSPB process sometime before March 15th. We ask that any member who is interested in retaining Layton to notify your regional office immediately. End of message. End of message. This is the National Call PAC for March 2nd, 1982. Item number 1. Evidentiary hearings will begin this...
Submitted on your behalf by this office for those who do not have attorneys of record. 1. Objection to agency motion for taking official notice. 2. Appellant's denial of agency facts. 3. Appellant's objection to agency motion to consolidate. 4. Appellant's objection to order compelling answers to agency's interrogatories. 5. A set of interrogatories to be approved by MSPB to compel a response. Copies of whatever is filed will be sent next week to the facility reps. Again, it takes bucks to do this for everyone, so please send in contributions without delay. End of callback.
A copy of this letter will be mailed directly to your cluster next Tuesday. Despite some language that is presently contained within the resolution, we want you to ask your congressman to support the effort. Many representatives will be in their home districts during the next 10 days. Item number 4. The Air Traffic Controller Support Organization, ATCSO of Spokane, Washington, in conjunction with T. Matthews and Associates, will coordinate a nationwide public opinion poll beginning within the next 2 weeks. We believe this poll will be greatly beneficial to PATCO, and we urge all members, spouses, and interested parties to participate. It is especially important that we have coordinators in the targeted market centers. For further information, contact your regional office. Item number 5. We still have a very special need for information from the inside. Particularly important is anything that can be verified concerning certification, ex-military hirees that have not attended the academy, and the actual washout rate. Do all that you can to get this information to the National Office, Attention Safety Research, as soon as possible. Item number 6. Contributions to our Legal Defense Fund have been recently received from controllers in France, Belgium, and Australia. PATCO will conduct a major campaign to solicit monies for this fund within the next 2 weeks. Item number 7. We will give you a complete report on the evidentiary hearings next Tuesday. We believe the testimony given already will help us. However, any speculation on the possible outcome or report of the proceedings thus far would be premature. And item number 8, we welcome those new callers to the nationally recorded call pack brought to us through the free advertising, including our phone number, by the Federal Times of that method of PATCO communication. We ask that all of you do your best to spread the word that PATCO is alive and well, continuing to serve its members and welcomes any contributions that you may wish to make to our Legal Defense Fund. End of message. March 5th, 1982. Item number 1. Today we initiated a major lobbying effort for the reinstatement of all dismissed controllers. A personal letter from Gary Eads has been sent to every member of Congress. These letters will be immediately followed by a more extensive package of well-researched evidence, which will clearly give each representative a true picture of what economic effect there has been on his or her district or state since August 3rd. Key congressmen will then be visited by a PATCO member and then Gary Eads. Contrary to some opinion we've heard from the field, this is not an initial effort in our attempt to effect a political settlement. Rather, it is a very necessary step in a process that is already well underway. Item number 2. Gary Eads will be attending cluster meetings at New York on Saturday, March 6th at 2 p.m. and at Boston on Sunday, March 7th at 7 p.m. Item number 3. Congressman James Jeffords, Republican, Vermont, has sent a Dear Colleague letter to all members of the House asking for their support for House Resolution 309. A copy of this letter will be mailed directly to your cluster next Tuesday. Despite some language that is presently contained within the resolution, we want you to ask your congressman to support the effort. Many representatives will be in their home districts during the next 10 days. Item number 4. The air traffic control...
Heightened with realization that neither PATCO nor any other interested party has had any opportunity to explore the effect that the newly discovered events may have had on FLRA's decision. End of quote. We caution the membership that while this order could be significant, those last 4 words underlined, could be significant, comma, it has not changed anything yet and may not. This is an extremely sensitive matter and should be handled accordingly with the press. More detailed information will be forthcoming to the membership. This information will include press release instructions. Item number 2. There is a great deal of concern for our members who are truly hardship cases and cannot pay the necessary amount of money in advance for their MSPB appeals. Dick Layton has advised PATCO that he is willing to assist those members to the maximum extent possible. Regarding this, comma, Layton has 2 requests, colon. 1. The membership write a letter stating his/her particular situation and include with that letter a small down payment and promissory note or payment schedule. The change of representative form must also be submitted. 2. This hardship case should be verified by a client of Dick Layton's. This information should be forwarded to Layton's office ASAP. Item 3. Today, comma, we went to the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. Again, we submitted our monthly financial reports as required by the court. These reports favorably reflected PATCO's financial position. We have begun to develop our reorganization plan, which, with your help, will satisfy the court and our creditors. Item number 4. PATCO National and Tom Holliday have agreed upon terms and conditions for an extensive public relations program. After over 20 hours of intensive planning during the past 2 days, the first 30-day plan of action will begin this week. This plan will be distributed to our regions and clusters by this weekend. Item number 5. Dick Layton's firm has attained the required base number of clients for MSPB. Comma, in fact, comma, they will probably exceed 2,000 clients by a considerable margin. End of message.
That is it.
No PATCO South message?
Stand by, one, right? Stand by. Now what?
No Patco South message?
No.
You know?
How come you only got a 3-minute tape on that thing?
It's the most we can get.
Oh, really?
It's the only thing we could get.
I'll be damned. Okay.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. As far as the politics situation and people worrying about the other guy, this guy made a comment. He says, you know what it amounts to, guys? He says, we've got to get these paranoid motherfuckers before they get us. Think about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really, I think that's where a lot of our problems have come in. You know, everybody's looking over their shoulder. And I don't know. I am optimistic, you know, coming out of that meeting that the people are going to start pushing in the same direction. I definitely wanted to go down there and see some other people. I was happy that Kopsik was down there. You know, he held no punches. I mean, he said how he felt, why he felt the way he did, which I think is great.
Well, I didn't even bother to go because my opinions are very much in the minority and differ tremendously from those people who have been my colleagues for the last few years. And I think that people have the opinion of me that I have broken from the mold and I'm a wimp or a sniveler or whatever. It's just that I have some ideas that differ from a good many other people who have been my colleagues for quite a while.
But I think it was yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the meeting. It was, and there were both sides both sides there, and I can promise you that.
I talked to Kopsik briefly when he came back through town.
What was his attitude about the meeting?
He felt that he was very much in the minority,
Well,
and
he was. You know, I'm not denying that, but
And
like
it,
I said, I was happy to see that he did speak up and stuff.
he felt like it maybe what he had to say wasn't well received and basically made no difference.
Well,
Which I think I would have. He and I share the same views, and I think I would have felt very much the same way had I gone.
yeah.
Like in Chicago, I was very much in the minority. I didn't say very much because there wasn't much need to say very much.
No, but you know, at least you know he did speak up,
Uh-huh.
and I think that's important. Just because you don't agree with a train of thought, it definitely is worth the time to get it out and spit it out. You know.
Well, we're still doing everything we can here, trying to keep the people together and continuing.
That's the only ball game in town, right?
Don't misunderstand. Just because maybe my differences of opinion with other people doesn't mean that we're not still in there fighting, and we're still doing everything we can to keep the people together and continue, and to follow the plan. But
Well, I'll tell you, we're having a regional seminar up here the 23rd. If you're, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out. I'm not saying you should come up or anything else.
Sure.
But we're having one the 23rd if you're, you know, happen to be up in this area and where you want to follow the sun.
we got a Super Bowl party that weekend. I think I'll probably stick around for that.
We got
That's a bad weekend for it, really.
yeah, when is the Super Bowl game?
26th,
20.
24th. That's right. It's on Sunday the 24th.
We had, by the way, just so you know, I was bad rapping you on your snow problems. We had that dastardly cold up here. It was 30 below over the weekend while we were gone. Anyhow, when on Monday morning we come in and a water pipe. No, yesterday morning. Yeah, we figured over the weekend the pipe froze, thawed out enough to cause problems. Yesterday morning when we opened up the headquarters, on top of the carpet was about 2 inches of water.
Oh, shit.
And we have, this used to be an old sound studio, and it has very thick carpet and very thick padding. And right now, I think we would...
He was at the strike headquarters as far as I know all day. Matter of fact, he brought me the old place. Yeah, I know. I was here last night. Headquarters. He was wrapping people up. I know. I mean, that would get our way in work. You mean you think you went after it, bro? I'm just telling you what she told me. How about both of them come back here and say, you'll be working on the
anytime we're building 24 hours, so that's 7 mornings.
Did you just know that we're here? What other field?
Big guess.
Down 955. 5789.
Is that Thomas?
Okay, he said he didn't want to cut
What is the question?
His wife,